Hey guys, and welcome to the Garage Athlete Show. We are on episode 80. It is myself and Daniel Frazier. I'll have to, obviously, I don't know about your kids, but mine break up on Friday, so I don't know what we're going to do next week. Mine break up this Friday, yeah. So I don't know what we're going to do next week. It just depends on work schedules, etc. So this might be the last episode before Christmas. I will try and get this one edited tonight tonight, because I've only just done last week's one this morning, because obviously I'm if I don't remember to do it on a Wednesday, it just doesn't get done. So yeah, this one will probably get edited tonight. So the lovely listeners are going to be privileged to have 2 episodes this week because they didn't get one from last week.
Oh, that's cool. Double drop. Always fun double dropping.
Yeah. How was your birthday, dude? How old are you now? So it was Dan's birthday yesterday.
I'm 34 now. So
34 years young. Still as handsome as ever, sir.
I'm still as closer to 30 than I am 40. So I'm holding on to that.
Yeah.
But then so 34, still closer to 40. I think 35, I'll be glass half full maybe, and then 36, all bets are off, right? But yeah, I'm all good, man.
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean it's all right. I think birthdays when you get older, they're fine. Got some nice presents and all that. It was lovely. Had a nice. We had some Italian, which was good, and you had minimal screaming, so that's good.
I was going to say, I don't know about you, but even just going out to a restaurant with a 4-year-old, I can't imagine what it's like with twins. It's not.
Yeah, we're kind of limited.
Relaxing of experiences.
Nah, we're limited now. We'll only go like 2 places. One where it's like one of them places you eat and it's like almost like an indoor soft play area where the kids just go wild. So they just go in there and go nuts while it's like a carvery while you eat. And then the other one's like our local Italian, which is quite big, and luckily we know them fairly well. So the kids can kind of just sprint around and they're okay. But then anywhere else, like we went to Beefeater once, but don't go to Beefeater, by the way, it's fucking terrible. But we went there and it was just like it's as fun as going out to eat is. It's worse going out with kids being like that, to the point of what you think sounds fun, like, oh, let's go to Chris Market, oh, let's do this. It ends up being horrible because the kids are what they're like.
Market. Like, well, we went. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? Yeah, we went to it was the weekend before last, and it's just like you end up getting there. We paid £22 for 2 burgers because we didn't eat before we went.
Jesus.
It wasn't even that great. It was a nice burger. It wasn't a 22. It wasn't a 10 to 12 pound burger.
Yeah, it's got to be proper gourmet shit for a 22 quid.
It was literally just the beef patty was nice. It wasn't like worth £7 or whatever it was. And then it's the kids always just want to go on the fairground rides at the end, which is like, it just absolutely drains you of cash. And then there's always a tantrum and tears, and it always seems to be raining. Whenever we decide to go, it's raining in Lincoln. Like, they've had a Christmas market in Lincoln for like 50 years or so, and we've gone the last 3 years, I think, and this year was the busiest I've seen it. So obviously the last few years has been COVID and stuff, hasn't it? So like they had like social distancing things like in place, whereas this year it wasn't, and you were just crammed in like cattle. I've said to that next year, because what we normally do is we park at her work, walk to the top of the Bale Gate, then you like go through the castle bit, and it's all like a one-way system, and then out the back there's like all the mulled wine and everything like that, and then like the fair's at the end. Whereas I said to Nat next year, just skip the fair and we'll go straight to the back bit. Like, because that's where the kids want to go. It's where the Ferris wheel is. It's where all the rides are. That's where we need to go. Let's skip out that first hour of just being like corralled through the castle, where you can't even go and look at the bloody shops if you want to, because you're literally just shuffling along and spending far more money than you'd ever need to. But at the end of the day, the kids loved it, and you only have to do it once a year, don't you?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of like, I don't know, I guess personally I don't enjoy it enough to want to do it. So like, I mean, we never did Christmas parties when I was a kid. Like I get
No.
it's nice for kids to do that. No, we never did. I guess my parents were. I wouldn't say tight. It's just it wasn't something they wanted to do or felt we needed to do. I don't feel I missed out because if you want to do something when you're older, you can do it and all that. But I don't know, just with how like we've got this thing up where we live called the Hoppings, which is like this giant outdoor festival every summer. They come up with like fairgrounds, basically like your winter wonderland, but in the summer, like every year. There's actually a winter wonderland next to me here, but by where I live. And like with how big it is and how full on and the money and the stress, like you just feel I like as a parent, I swear you just feel so much stress and anxiety around it. Like where are my kids? Why is this one kicking off? What does this one want? You pay for them to put on a ride, you've paid whatever, they hate the ride, you're like, great, that was a waste of money. You got to do this, it's cold. And I'm just like,
I want to buy one of these light sticks. How much is it?
yeah,
£10. Yeah,
yeah.
we're not buying that. That's
Yeah, and I just feel
50p
it's
from
not worth
China.
it. Yeah,
Like
I just feel
you'll
it's
play with
not.
it once and it'll go into the corner with every other toy that you've got.
Yeah, pretty much. And I just feel like fuck this, man. I'm not keen. But,
We've become grumpy old men. We've gone past the 30 mark and we've become grumpy old men.
pretty much. Eh? But yeah, no, it just feels a bit. I don't know. But some things are worth it, I think, like for what you pay and you have fun. But yeah, just everyone's. I still feel we're in that weird part of life where everyone's trying to claw money back post COVID. And I think people are still trying to push things as much as they can. But
Yeah.
it is noticeably more expensive. I know you can't compare to when you were young. Like we used to get a fairgrounds to be like £1 a ride, or if it was a big ride, it was £2. Whereas like now, it's like it's that point where it's like this does feel like I can't just mindlessly spend while I'm here or be like, oh, that was that. It's a big like shit. That was quite a lot.
Could easily spend 40, 50 quid on one of those days and
Oh
not,
mate, I've got
as you
three
said,
like
it's just
well,
mindlessly spending.
what is there three kids in your household as well?
Yeah, but only the littlest one came with us.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's different. But imagine if like all three are around, especially with the lads being a bit older, they want to go on all the big stuff and all that. And if they're kind of just, it might be slightly different with your stepsons, but it gets to a point where they're just of that age where they can't go out to work, but they're still, obviously your responsibility and you pay for them and stuff. And you're just like, you should really, yeah. I can see why my parents were so like, I wouldn't say I don't have ties the right word, but very money conscious, despite being they weren't poor or anything, but it was just like everything was a real big thought before we went out and did it.
Well, we're having to have that conversation with Ben at the moment because he's 18, he's going to be 19 in April, and he's just like, you kind of ask him, well, what do you want to do with your life? I want to go in the well, he's decided he wants to go in the RAF. So he said when he finished school, oh, you should really apply because it could take like 6 months for you to get in. Yeah, I'll do it. It took him till the mid-September, I think it was, to even apply. By the time he applied, the position he wanted, they weren't recruiting for anymore. And it was just like, okay, well, you need to kind of like speak to the careers office and see, okay, I will. Just nothing. So his mum had to put her foot down with him the other day and just be like, look, we're gonna put a timeline on this. Like, come February, March time, like you're gonna have to start paying some rent to like live here because he's 18, he goes to the gym, he eats like a horse. And it's just like, because he only works part-time at the moment, they felt guilty about like charging him any board to like live, even if it was just to cover the food that he eats. But he's also not going out of his way to either find a full-time job or apply for something that's just more, because he works in, it's called downtown, so he works a Saturday and a Sunday and picks up the odd extra shift here and there. But like it's that awkward position where he lives a very fucking comfortable life. Like literally gets to wake up when he wants. His only responsibility is paying his phone bill. He can go to the gym, spend time with his mates, play on his PlayStation, and earns enough money working a weekend job that he's got 400 quid in his pocket like each month. Like I would love to have £400 of disposable income, but I don't.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I used to call them but back where I used to live, I used to call them local celebrities. Where it was almost like, and then you see them up here, where like I don't know. I guess I've never been in that position where it's like they earn all right cash, sort of entry level positions, doing okay. But the fact they're not paying bills and living at home, mate, their disposable income is insane. Like absolutely insane what they can do with it. I guess I'm a bit jealous. I'm like, fucking hell, whenever I earn more, I seem to have more bills and more kids. So it's like, great. Love it. I don't actually see any benefit from it. Yeah, work harder to have the same, if not a worse lifestyle.
And that's just it. And like essentially what they've had to do now is be like they're going to put time. She doesn't even care that he's not in a career. He's 19. A lot of people don't know what they're going to do with the rest of their life when they're 19. It's just having a plan of not being stuck where you are, like now, sort of thing. But Joshua was like 12, no, 13. He just turned 13 the other day. So as you said, he's that awkward age where you're financially responsible for them, but they can't work. But what they want is becoming more and more expensive. Like we got out like all the Christmas presents the other day, and Natalie spent an even amount across all the kids, but the older kids, that £200 budget or whatever she's got, like it's like 5 or 6 presents because everything is so much more expensive. Whereas for Willow, like it's like £10 for a gift because she's into like those toys and plastic toys or whatever it is. And we've spaced it out over, I think when did we start buying Christmas presents? We started buying Christmas presents in like August so that we could space out that budget over a longer period of time. But yeah, basically we had to get them all out to see we got everything. And Willow's pile is massive because you can get lots of little stuff for a 4 or 5-year-old. Whereas as they get older, the stuff they want is more expensive. So when you spend the same amount of money on them, it doesn't look as great under the tree, does it? When you've got like 3 small packages, but each one of those worth twice as much as any of the things that Willow's got.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I guess all kids can do is ask for things. Like you're the parent, the responsibility to say yes or no. Like,
yeah,
I don't blame kids for being spoiled and all that. Like, yeah, like I see some of Coda's mates, and like some of them get like a lot of things, of things. Whereas I guess for that, like we just buy a few, like you say, a few little things, and they seem happy. But I can't imagine what it's going to be like when they turn a certain age and they want, I don't know, Nintendos or. Have you seen the price of a Barbie's dream house? It's insane.
Yes.
I'm just like, no.
When did they become hundreds of pounds?
Oh mate, like just fucking mental. I was like, at least with a PlayStation, you get longevity in it, and there's loads of different things you get. Barbie's dream house, you'll buy it, and you'll be sick of it within a fucking year. Yeah. I find that there's a number. I think if it starts creeping over like 20-30 quid, and if it's like mindless, then I'm like, yeah, fine. You want that? Great. Box ticked. Whereas if it starts creeping over that and they still want it, and I'm like, nah, this isn't going to work. You have to either really want it or like, I need to see play with it every day. Like, I remember like me like begging my parents for this Lego set. It was like, I think it was like, even back then, it was like 30-40 quid. I think I played with it like a few times and that was it. It was like, you just throw it away. Or not throw away, you just don't play with it. You're just like, yeah, I remember feeling as a kid once, I was like, yeah, I'm just wasting my parents' money. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You just feel a bit like, oh God. Well, I guess maybe you learn about how to deal with all that. I don't know. But I mean, like, do you ever ask for gym stuff for Christmas? Or do you think because you're, self-employed, you can buy it yourself?
So I'll ask for like little accessories. So like new wrist wraps or lifting straps or maybe some like smelling salts or something like that. Something that's going to be somewhere between like 10 and 30 quid. Just because, as you said, anything bigger, I'm an adult male. Like if I want something, I will buy it. Like I will go out, I'll earn the money and I'll buy it. I find it really, really hard to like ask for stuff at like birthdays and Christmas, just because it's that I don't like people spending too much money on me. And like I said, like if it's a big thing, I will go and sort that kind of like out myself. So I tend to leave myself some wiggle room in terms of, right, if I need any new wrist wraps or I need a new lifting belt or something like that, I'll wait until a birthday or Christmas to kind of like ask for that sort of stuff. What about you?
Right. So I don't ask for it because like, hey, Mads, it's like, I'm not buying you drum stuff and I'm not buying you fitness stuff. To which I go, well, I have no idea what I want then.
Those are my main 2 hobbies.
I'm just like, I literally don't know. But like, she's really good. She buys me like gums, like oh mate, she pulled out the bag the other day for my birthday. I got them Samsung earbuds things.
Oh, nice.
Like, when we're doing this, I wear my in-ear monitors I drum with. That's why, and it really helps with the sound delay and stuff like that. But like, it's so handy to have them things you just stick in your ears. I was like, fuck, I didn't even think of that. That's amazing. I got like some nice t-shirts. But I was like, mate, I've got. I don't know about maybe it's just because I'm a dude or a simple dude, but like I pulled out all my clothes from my wardrobe the other day of all the stuff that I've got, and I was like, I've got too many things. Like I've got too many clothes. Like bear in mind, my wife's wardrobe space probably takes up 80% of the wardrobe and I take up 20. And I still feel like
that's the
I have
exact
too
same
many
for me.
things. I need to
Yeah.
slim it right down. I was like, right, no more clothes. I'm gonna close man. She always rips me because I'm like, do you want to like get a jumper? I was like, I have a jumper. And she was like, oh, I have ordered two. I was like, don't need to. But now I've got all these clothes and stuff and different like colors of things. I'm like, it's giving me, it's making me freak out. It's annoying me. I need to start getting rid of stuff. So yeah, I'm present front. So I'm like, I think I need to get presents that I can like drink or eat or use, or like I love practical gifts.
Yeah, same.
Like absolutely love it. Mate, I bought my first girlfriend a sat nav once. I think she quite liked it though. I think she quite liked it. Mads has never let that one go.
At least it wasn't a Hoover, like.
Oh, that'd be sexist. Yeah. I mean, she bought me a kitchen knife, and I still use it to this day. It was fucking mint. Like, I love practical things. But yeah, Mads not so much. But like, okay, it's a weird one, presents, isn't it? But I mean, if someone like put a few things in my stocking, I'd be buzzing. Like, for example, I just bought myself some, there's ankle straps for cables.
Yeah.
Like I just bought some of those because I've been using figure of 8 straps for my hamstring curls, but it's getting to the point where you start letting up, it's becoming quite uncomfortable on my ankle, I guess would
like
be the
Achilles,
word. I mean it's doable, but I was like, I'd rather focus on lifting the weight than worrying about if it hurts or not. So I've just bought some of those, like 10 quid, I guess, off Amazon, and I bought like a few other things for the gym, like fat grip's always good. I think everyone should have an ab wheel, mate. Like they're so good. So just little things like ab wheels or like a Bosu ball, so you can get some stir the pots in, is great. Stocking fitters, like maybe like some cable attachments are good. Collars, I always like collars are one of them things in gyms everyone loves to customize, don't they? Like everyone likes their own little collars. I've got some pink collars in my gym, right? Snapshot lock ones, because I kept losing the black ones. I could never find them
because they're on the black floor. That happens to me all the time. You put your black collars on the black floor and you're like, where the fuck are these things? End up searching around for ages, give up, go and get some spring ones, use that on the bar, finish your set, and then you just go to move some. Oh shit, it's there. It's just like on a black tile, so it's merged in.
Yeah, totally. And then so you buy another pair and then you find it, and now I've got 3 different sets of collars in the
gym. In a one-person gym.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, with clients, like it's almost become the running joke. Like, for fuck's sake, Dan, like, what have you done with the number? I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like an idiot. And then so, what else would be a nice little?
Who is it that brought out those magnetic collars that you can like stick onto your
Yeah,
rack
they're
and
really
stuff?
cool. There's some really good collars. There's some really strong ones. I think magnets like are such a good idea for most things. Like stick it up.
Well, Jay did a little video on a timer he bought from. It was either like Wish or AliExpress or something like that, and it's literally got a magnet on the back. So you twist it to set the time. You stick it on your rack, and you can just press it, and it'll start doing a timer. I think it's like 1 to 100 minutes or something like that. So really good for like rest times and stuff.
That's a good idea. Do you time your rest periods?
No, if I'm being honest.
I never have. Yeah,
I've done it in the past when I was like super anal about like tracking every single rep, every single set.
Speaking of that, I went to the gym the
other
other day, and there was this lad timing his no, I said the other day, like fucking months ago. I think we talked about it, and he was like him and his miss, and he was timing the set. The whole like 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. I was like, I think it's been pretty much like debunked, like in terms of for what do you call it, hypertrophy and potential strength gains, that you don't have to do that. If anything, it's better lift with control, but lift the most amount of weight you can. So it's almost like needless. Like
I think it's the people that need it are the ones where they don't control the eccentric. So literally you'll watch their training and they're going boom, 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 boom. I do spend quite a bit of time with people on tempo just because 9 times out of 10, they're not controlling the eccentric phase. And if anything, it's to save their joints and save their tendons. It's not necessarily because you're going to grow more muscle. It's I deal with a lot of guys that are like 25 to 45.
No, this one was for the what do you call it?
Time and detention, bro.
Yeah, this is the only way to lift. You have to do this. Yeah. I think time and detention is fucking great. Like, mate, you're talking to someone that like almost exclusively does 10 to 15 reps now. So I'm all for time and detention. Like a small muscle group, to me, you need to train high reps, because otherwise you get no time attention. Like if you do a set of 10 on a fucking shrug or a calf raise, the set's done in like what, 10 seconds. So you need to do more reps to get the time and attention, but doing it in a very specific way, not this like super slow. Like you say, I think super slow squats and deads and all that shit are fucking amazing for teaching technique. Like they're amazing. Like, I love them. But certain people, I'm like, come on, you don't need to be doing that anymore, man. Like,
I think, as you said, it's one of those things where it's a tool to be used at a certain time. It's not this is better or this is better. It's that you've got a load of different tools in your toolbox. If you want to do a heavy, say, set of dumbbell press, and then a much lighter time and detention one, so you're using both of those tools in the same session, then crack on. But you shouldn't be doing like, you can't use the same tool for every single thing and it work in the exact same way. So like people, for example, so like, I'm just trying to think, like high intensity, low volume work, like you can't do like a maximal set of like 1 to 6 on lateral raises. Like you said, it's a small muscle group. It's just not going to work because of that time and detention thing. Whereas doing like sets of 20 to 30 on I'm trying to think of an exercise that you couldn't do sets of, like on a heavy dumbbell press or something like that, then what you'll probably find is if there's a sufficient weight, your technique's going to break down like way before you hit that 20 to 30 sort of rep range. So I think it's different exercises have different needs, if that kind of like covers it. Like some you're going to go heavier for a lower rep range, others you're going to need higher rep ranges to be able to get the full benefit from it.
Yeah, I think you well said on that. So my next question would be, are you doing any training in your garage over Christmas?
Yeah, probably. Especially because the kids are off from Friday. I think a lot of my training between now and when they go back to school is probably going to be in the garage, just because Natalie's working a normal-ish sort of rota, except for like Christmas Day, Boxing Day, stuff like that. So it's one of those things, especially when you got a 4-year-old, I can't disappear off to the gym for 2 hours because like that would be silly, and it's also child neglect. So rather than training in the daytime, I'll probably be training in the evenings, like in the garage, and like certain things will have to swap around. Like I think I've talked before on the podcast about like my garage is like closer to my neighbor's house than it is to mine. So like I can't deadlift heavy in there, especially in the evening, because if I'm dropping 150 kilos on the floor, the vibrations are going straight into their living room and therefore they will complain. So I'm going to have to find a different pull exercise or just drop deadlifts out while I'm kind of like training at home. And also manage the loads so that, well, I suppose the doors and stuff are going to be closed, but I'll have to train with like without my headphones on so I don't get too loud. But I've got it's one of those things, like I've invested in enough kit in there that I can get my training done to a level I'm happy with, kind of with everything that I've kind of got in there. I'm used to training in there. I trained exclusively in there for like 2 years, like from when we moved into the house, like over lockdown and stuff. And it's only because of me competing and having to bring up muscle groups like my back and my legs. And I was just running out of space in terms of having the specific equipment I need in there to work on those muscle groups. Is the only reason I ended up getting a gym membership.
Yeah, I remember you saying, it's I think at the level you're at, it's you're probably looking at using, there might be a certain machine that works a muscle group in a certain way. For we have bodybuilders where we live who basically rotate their gyms, like they go to different gyms every like few months to almost like it's, I'm like, bloody hell,
different machines.
Yeah, because they're like, this machine hits my back better than this one, or I want to do this, and I'm like, fucking hell, like full on.
And it's one of those things, it's like those 1 or 2%. So like for your average person who just wants to get fit and healthy and live a bit longer, you don't need to pay attention to those 1 or 2%. Making sure that your low cable row is activating the lat in the optimum way in order to be able to grow that like bottom inch isn't going to make a major difference to your ability to be able to lose a bit of body fat and look good at the beach. Whereas for somebody like myself, who I don't have a great connection with my back, I don't have a great connection with my lats, which means that I struggle. Like, if you look at my stage photos, my upper back was very well developed. My glutes and my hamstrings were very well developed, but there's like a gap between like the top of my glutes and where like the bottom of my trap was, because basically my erector spinae and my lower lats just weren't thick enough. So literally, it looks like there's a whole gap in my physique.
You need a deadlift then.
I've been deadlifting without a belt, and I've worked out to 160 for a set of 8. So
nice. Strong.
Hopefully, when we pull the fat off, then that's going to be an area that's kind of improved. Like,
that's one of those things now. I don't deadlift. I'm very conscious of that. I feel like I've got no. I don't know if I do or don't, because I'm a fat bastard. I don't have. You can't see the separation, but like I do wonder. Like I can't see how I'll have that same thickness because I'm not deadlifting at the moment.
Yeah.
And I
can
do that back raise as well. It's very
hard to build up thickness there without deadlifting, just because.
But that's why it looks so impressive, because I think when you see those thickness in the muscles, it tells that you can lift some weight. And like when you see bodybuilders on stage, like that's to me what sets them apart of the guys that will do some flies and pull downs to the guys that are willing to, smash some stiff leg deadlifts or whatever. You can tell the difference. Like the champions always got really thick backs. So it's the same thing that you'll never see. I think we've said it time and time again. You'll never see a weak lifter with a small back. Like you just never will. I've seen plenty of lifters that was like no quads. They don't like they've got chest, they're all gangly look and they look a bit weird. But come to deadlift, they can lift huge amounts. And you look at their backs and they're just like fucking just thick as fuck. Like you can see people. Yeah. They might have great quads, but when it comes to squat, they might have no quads, but they've got that really strong back. So they're probably like the good morning a squat, but they can still lift it and strong back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's one of those things where it all depends on the sort of the level. So like I've had guys that have messaged me on like Instagram and stuff being like, right, what's the best for XYZ? And like, well, what's your goals? I want to look good on the beach. And it's just like, just fucking train then. Like, you don't need to fill holes in your physique. Like, you don't have a lagging body part. You just need to add more muscle.
Oh, maybe all the time. Like, how do I build more muscle in the chest? I'm like, well, yeah, do a bench press. Well, like the upper chest or lower chest. I'm like, let's not go ahead of ourselves. So let's think about that. Like for me, like I'm like, yes, it annoys me that I can't lift the way I want to. Like, and I'll be honest, I'm pretty much in pain every day at the moment. I'm trying to get out of it, but I think just the bending around with the kids all the time is just killing me. So I can't do the way I want, which in result means I can't carry muscle in the way I want. But if I've got my shirt up on the beach, it's in like fairly near, so I'm going to be like, oh, so you missed that. You stiff leg deadlifts there, Dad. Like there might be like say 1 or 2, but like most people will just be like, all right, do you look decent? Yeah, cool.
You're in decent shape. Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
I think as well, a lot of people forget that, well, one, the fact you train at all puts you in the top like 20% of like humans on the planet anyway, because the majority of people don't train. And 2, most people do not give a fuck what you look like. They're only concerned about themselves. Same thing where if you're suffering with any anxiety about like training in a gym or things like that, like when you go into a gym environment, 99 people out of 100 are far more interested in that person in the mirror than anybody else around them. You get the odd dickhead. If you go to a gym with a culture where it is influencers and people that are a bit like up themselves and a bit self-righteous, then yes, you may find the odd dickhead that might say some things. However, most people that are in gyms are there to better themselves. That's why they joined a gym. They didn't join a gym to criticize, to look down on, to do all these things to kind of like other people. And I think social media especially almost it skews people's views, because when somebody sat behind a screen, like you can be a troll, you can do all these things and you don't see the emotional response that that person has. Whereas if you laugh at somebody to their face and you see them get upset, unless you're a fucking psychopath, that's probably going to affect you negatively. So people are much less likely to do that. And if anything, like some of the most supportive environments I've ever been in have been playing a sport or being in a gym, because you're in a group of people that are all working towards the same goal, which is that they're trying to better themselves. I think that's why the home gym community grew so much during the lockdowns, because everyone was trapped and training at home, and they needed a community. They needed somewhere to congregate with other people that were kind of trying to achieve the same goals.
Yeah, I think that's apt. Yeah, it's yeah, like I remember hearing Lane Norton talk about this. Like he gets shitloads of trolling online. Like some, I mean, he can be a bit of a polarizing character sometimes, but he gets some proper like horrible stuff. And he's like, never once has anyone said this to me in person. Like not once, like never. And you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I think there's something to that. Yeah, I think it gives people a shield. Turns the filters off a bit. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all those things that I like to think, gyms are pretty inviting, and people don't feel that way when they go into it, and it shouldn't be self-conscious. But yeah, I get it now. I understand why people are, because there are some people like that. I don't think the majority are not, but I think for some people that are already a bit scared, all it takes is one or two, and then suddenly that's it. They're scared. I mean, it's brutal, but I guess you have to try and overcome that somehow. Like just grow, I don't know, growing a thick skin. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I can't tell you how to do it. I can maybe just tell you the way I would approach it. But yeah, the gym can be daunting for a lot of people. Yeah, I do get that.
I think for most people, the scariest thing is that they don't know that what they're doing is right, so they're already second guessing themselves. And then if somebody just kind of like glances over because they're walking past, they've just caught them out of their periphery, that little voice in their head's going, you're doing something wrong. That person knows you're doing something wrong, and it just kind of like escalates from there. One of the best bits of advice I could say to anybody who's feeling like that is get a plan together, written out ahead of time. Know what exercises you're going in to do, the order you want to do them, and what to do if that machine is in use. Either from somebody who trains quite a lot, get a coach, get a plan kind of like online, and ask for feedback from people that you trust and that have done it for a while. Like when you can go into the gym and go, right, here's my plan. I know I can execute these exercises as well as I can right now. And the only person I need to worry about is me. And as long as I come in and I'm beating me, that's all I kind of need to worry about. And everybody else just fades into the background. Put your headphones on, go into your own little zone, and just, it's you versus you. I know that's a massive cliche, but at the end of the day, when it comes to training, like that's the only person you really need to be competing with. Like you can't walk into a gym and expect to be able to do what that guy next to you is doing or that girl next to you. They may have been in the gym for 10 years at this point. You just don't know. And it is definitely one of those things where you have to pay your dues. Like somebody who's rich could have just inherited that money. They could have got it through no work. Somebody who has a great physique, you can't cheat your way to a great physique. You have to have worked hard. I know you can get implants and stuff, but somebody who's like jacked, I suppose you could argue about like the whole PED things, but even with performance enhancing drugs, you still have to work hard in order to have an enviable physique, and you have to put that time in. And I think that's one of the things that why a lot of people aspire to have that, because it's not something you can just buy. You have to earn it.
Yeah, no, that's right, you do. Yeah, absolutely, you do. Yeah. But do you earn it over Christmas with all the food? I'll be earning the size I put on over Christmas, that's for sure.
Good.
No, I'm still trying to make sure I'm training. Like we actually did delay the start of today's episode because I had to finish training my arms. So sorry about
that. Getting the gun show going.
I was like, look, I've got this goal, right? I've got this thing where, because I'm not necessarily progressing weights so much, that it's like I've got certain targets in mind. So for example, for bicep curls, it's quite hard to keep going up, by 2.5K every week for a certain amount of reps and sets. Like you stall fairly quickly on that. So what I do now is my target this week was I wanted to do 3 sets of 15 hammer curls with 18 kilos. So I wanted to do 3 sets of 15 with that. And then I was like, you almost become like obsessed, like I have to make that happen. So I did the first set, great. Second one was all right, tiny bit of swing. And then the third set, I had to take a rest pause on the 10th rep. But now I've ticked that box for me in my training. I'm like, right, now I can move up to the next weight. So now my next session, I think it'll be like 20 kg curls. So now I'll start off with 10 sets of 10, see how that goes, put a rep up here and all that, and then move forward. But
Nice.
yeah, just little goals that I want to get right. Rep here,
I
rep
think
there.
As you said, with those smaller muscle groups, adding in like intensifiers as well, so that
I love
can.
like myo reps and strip sets and drop sets.
Well,
Love it.
what did I do on lateral raises? Now I pyramid up in terms of, so I end up having 4 working sets. So I pyramid up with the weights that I'll use in a drop set. So I'll do like 10 to 15 with the 10s, the 15s, and then the 20s. And then I'll do a drop set as the 4th set of 20 for max reps, 15 for max reps, and then 10 for max reps. So you're pyramiding up in weight and then do a final drop set. And just by the end, like you're getting like the 10s or the 7.5s or whatever, and you're literally doing like quarter reps just because your shoulder, your laterals can't move anymore.
Love it. Yeah, like I said, like fucking lateral raises. They're such a small exercise, but it hurts so fucking much.
And it's so boring. Like you have to do stuff like that to kind of keep it interesting. Like I was doing cuffed raises and stuff for a while, but again, you just hit that ceiling on what you can do very quickly because it's such a small muscle group. And all it does is do that with your arm. So it's not like there's any other exercise apart from maybe upright rows, but I don't like those because of what it does to my wrist. Like the only movement you can do is that lateral raise. So like I've got a training partner at the moment, and he's trained on and off for a number of years. On most exercises, he's like catching me up in terms of like, especially like isolation work, like leg extensions, leg curls, all that kind of stuff. Whereas like on the big compound exercises, he's still obviously lagging behind because he hasn't got those months, years and years of hammering away at those exercises. And then on lateral raises, it's just like, right, we're doing lateral raises here. So I think I picked up the 15s or whatever. He went to do the 10s and just was like, how are you doing that? Went down to the 7.5s, then the 5s, and was like, you've got to take it easy on those muscle groups because it's a very small muscle group. It's used for a very specific thing. It's going to take a long time for you to build up your tolerance in that.
It's so true, though. If it's all things like bodybuilding, it's like you have to, like, I would much now rather use, I mean, sometimes you get excited, but like I would much rather use a lighter weight to get that great feeling than say going heavier, doing it shit just because I wanted to like catch up with a mate. Like I find bodybuilding particularly, you really have to like not use that because like you'll see someone, I don't know, do insane amounts on a leg press, but like every fucking leg press is different. You might be able to lift 60k more in a certain leg press because of the angle or just that machine seems to be better for you. But it's kind of just like working with the same machine or staying in your lane or doing like for example, I could bench 180. I'm sure if I kept good lifting the heavy, I would have done, more, should have pushed more. But like, I could do sets with, 140 for 5s and 6s and, 150s and all that kind of stuff. But then again, like for me to like do a bench where I just want to feel my chest and do it in a certain way for high reps to feel that, I might drop down to like 80 kilos or 90 kilos. Like we'll go way down just to get that feeling. It's a very different way of training than just trying to be as strong as possible. And I think it's important in your own training for everyone really to know that, because you'll train a lot better and you'll get better results and you'll last a lot longer as well.
I think for the average person in the gym, using something like a logbook to actually show them where they should be training, because
you just remind me this little meme the other day with I think it was shared by Was it Dead Until I'm Dead? I think it's like when the guy's in the gym with his little logbook. You're like, oh, what are you writing in your diary, big guy? What's on your mind? It's like, dear diary, today I lifted. It's like, oh, what's in your head, big guy? It made me laugh.
Yeah. So what I find with a lot of people is that when they're trying to keep all those numbers in their head, especially with the amount of variety that comes in with the type of programming that I do, they will pick weights that they know they can do for those reps rather than pushing themselves to actually hitting failure between those reps. So they may say you set a rep range of 10 to 15, they'll pick a weight that they know they can get 2 sets of 15 on, rather than one where they may fail at 14 on the first set and then 12 on the second set. So I think it's always good for people to have a phase where they do track things and then progressively overload on it. So then they do then find that place that they are genuinely hitting muscle failure and they feel kind of like safe in there because they've incrementally got there. I think people either jump to going too heavy too quickly, an ego lift, and then don't see any benefit from it, or they stay well within their ability range without pushing and without training their strength, just because when you're trying to remember, say you've got 6 different exercises on a workout, you've got 5 different workouts per week. Each one of those has got 2 to 3 working sets. That's 30. That's 70, 80 sets you've got to remember of what weight you use. And not only that, it's like how close to failure did you come on each one of those sets? That's a lot of data to try and remember in your head.
Yeah.
So
keeping a book's a great idea.
Like keeping a log of it for a period of time so that you know you're training within those right ranges. Like for me now, I can go into the gym because I did that for a solid 2-3 years. I can go into the gym and I know that, right, using the 50 kilo dumbbells, I'm definitely going to fail within that rep range.
Yeah,
or
you got an idea of what you can lift in that range.
Yeah. So because I'm only adding a rep here or a rep there or 1 or 2 kilos here and there, like I can go in and do that because I've been doing the same program now for 4 months. So the changes that are going to be happening are going to be minute. Whereas whenever I start a new program, I will log it so that I've got that baseline data of where it is that I'm starting. And I will try to progress that over at least the first 4 to 6 weeks as I'm relearning those exercises. And then I might back off a little bit on using the logbook or keeping such a big track, just because sometimes I'd like to throw in an extra set, or sometimes I'll do a drop set, or sometimes I'll do some things just to mix things up a little bit. But then when I'm in prep, and again, when food is then very low and I need to be very, very precise in terms of the amount of training that I'm doing, then the logbook will come back in because I don't want to be over or under training. So I need to be monitoring a lot more things. And again, it all depends on what sort of level you kind of wanting to take these things to.
Yeah, so that's how you progress. But solved. Yeah, that's how you progress. Absolutely.
No worries, dude. Right, the wife just got home. I'm gonna go walk the dog before
No
we
worries,
go
mate.
pick up
I
Willow.
gotta go as well, mate. But pleasure speaking to you as always, mate. Have a wonderful Christmas and all that, and we'll catch up.
Yeah, no worries. So if I don't speak to you before Christmas, I'll let you know what's happening next week. If we can fit something in across our 2 diaries, we will. If not, there's no pressure about it. So look forward to you seeing / hearing from you guys over the next kind of couple of weeks. And if we don't speak to you beforehand, have a great Christmas and New Year.
Take care, guys.
No worries. Bye for now.
See ya.